This is topic 5 homework problem number 15. And we're given this diagram and we're asked to find all the missing angle sizes and lengths. Now, when I look at this, one thing that jumps out at me is that this is in centimeters and these are in meters. In order to do our calculations, all the units need to match. So I'm going to turn this into 1.5 meters. We don't want to try to calculate with centimeters and meters. They have to match up. The next thing that I notice is that they gave us that as 32 degrees. And I find it easier to work out all the angles first and then use that information to help find the lengths. So I know that this is a right triangle and that these two angles are complementary because that's 90 degrees, so that this is 58 degrees. So that's the first piece of information that we get. I also notice that this angle and that one are vertical angles. So that one is 58 degrees. And this is a right triangle. And these two angles are complementary. So this is also 32 degrees. And now look at what we have. We have a medium triangle that is similar to a small triangle, which I'll draw like this. And when I look at those two triangles, I see another triangle, a bigger one. If I bring that and that up, then I get a big triangle. And this angle is 32 degrees. And that angle is 58 degrees. So the small, the medium, and the large triangles are all similar. And since they're all similar, then I can use any measurements that I see on them in terms of proportionality to the other triangles. I can use that to help find the information. So they're all similar by AA. And so when I look at these triangles, I say, okay, I've got a whole bunch of lengths I need to figure out, but let's label the ones that I already know. I know that this distance is 3.8 meters, and I know that this distance is 6 meters. And it has a hypotenuse that's broken up into 2 bits, so I will call them P and Z. And so this hypotenuse is that whole length there. This is P plus Z. Now I also know on my small triangle that, oh, I'm sorry, I labeled these wrong. This is medium and this is small. So I know on my small triangle that this is 1.5 meters. And I don't have any other given information, but I can start labeling the parts. On the small triangle, this is P. On the medium triangle, this is Z. Okay, and I need to label some other parts so I can work with them. I'm going to call this X because I have to find that. So this is X, and I'm going to call this Y, which is this side for that Y. The other part that I need to label is this side here, and that's Q. So I'll add that there. So now I have variables for all the unknown parts, and I have numbers for all of the known distances that we have. But now I have 3 similar triangles, and I can use this information to help me figure it out. So I know that, let's see, if this is 32, and this is 32 degrees, and this is 32 degrees. And I'm labeling those so that I can keep track of what sides are corresponding to the other sides in the similar triangles. So I'm going to erase this part of the board so that I can, well, I'm a little worried about that. Hold on. Okay, so let's just start and I'll erase it when I have to. So I know that this distance is the same as this distance, So that tells me that 3.8 is equal to this distance x plus this distance 1.5. And that tells me that x is equal to 2.3. So now I have x as 2.3. I also know that I can set up a relationship that this side of the small triangle is in corresponding to this side of the large triangle. So I get a scalar multiplier of 1.5 to 3.8, which is about 0.39. And that's taking us from the small triangle to the big triangle. Okay. Now, if I think about what the hypotenuse is of the big triangle, I know that one side is 6 and the other one is 3.8. And I labeled that hypotenuse as P plus Z. So I can use the Pythagorean theorem to do 6 squared plus 3.8 squared. And when I take the square root of that, I get P plus Z. So that's about 7.1 meters. That's the hypotenuse of the big triangle. And I want to compare it to the hypotenuse of the small triangle, because I know that the hypotenuse of the small triangle is in relationship to the hypotenuse of the big triangle. That has to be 0.39. So that tells me that P is 2.8. So that tells me this is 2.8. And I know that the whole length, P plus Z, is 7.1. So that tells me that Z is 7.1 minus the 2.8. And that gives me Z as 4.3. So now I know this is 4.3. So I've run out of space on my board. I'm going to erase the bottom part here because I've labeled things as I've been going along. So now I have the small triangle. I know the hypotenuse and I know the short side. Now I need to find, well, I don't want to find that side yet. Let me work with that. I have Z, I have P, I have this. Let's see, I know this was P plus Z. Okay. Sorry, I lost a little track of where I was. Okay, so, I know that X from the medium triangle, I found Z, so this is 4.3. So I know that from my medium triangle, X squared plus Y squared is 4.3 squared. So, and we found that X was 2.3. So this is 2.3 squared, and that allows me to find out that Y is about 3.6. So I just ran that through the calculator to get my 3.6. So now I have all the dimensions of the medium triangle. I see that, let's see, I need to find this side on the small triangle. So I know that Q squared plus 1.5 squared, the square of those two sides, is equal to 2.8 squared. So when I solve this for Q, I get it to be about 2.4. So this is 2.4. So now I have the small triangle is 2.4 by 1.5 by 2.8. I have the medium triangle is 2.3 by 3.6 by 4.5. And I found all the missing links and I found all the missing angles, and we're done.